Welcome to Quick Shots, a short format traditional archery podcast, where we introduce you to some of the world's most influential traditional archers, and occasionally, some random dudes.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Quick Shots. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification. We upload a new episode every Wednesday, and they just keep getting better and better. If you or someone you know is an interesting trad archer, leave a comment below. We'd love to get you on the show. If you want to support the channel, head on over to the tradlifearchery.com. We have toques, we have hats, we have mugs, just a bunch of stuff over there. And anything you buy goes to support this channel. We do really appreciate it. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Quick Shots. I'm your host, Mick Chambers. I'm here with Darron Rodgers. Darron, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Dude, good. So I know Darron from just locally here in Kansas and shooting with him. We've only shot once, but pretty impressed, man. And just right now, you're crushing it. You're crushing it. You know, you're posting scores that are unbelievable.
Well, I mean, it's been a long time coming. Not really. I've only been shooting 2.5, almost 3 years now, and started out right-handed and switched left. But I've been shooting compound since I was 14, and competitively, I shot compound about 15 years before that. So before I switched to recurve, back to recurve. So
cool. Start right from the beginning. I want to know your origin story, when you got into archery, you know, where you live, what you're doing. Just tell everyone everything about you, because realistically, more people should know who you are than you. And that's why you're on this show, man. We're gonna make you.
No, I really want to stay. I want to stay
under the radar.
Yeah.
We're not staying on the radar, brother. This is about to happen right now.
Okay. So Darron Rodgers. I'm from Warrensburg, Missouri. Actually, everyone knows where Warrensburg is. I'm from Knob-Noster, Missouri. I grew up in north central Missouri and moved here in about 2000. Been here ever since with my wife. Started shooting a bow when I was 14, 15, just, you know, hunting, screwing around. All my friends did it, and I thought it looked fun, and started shooting bow. Killed my first 2 deer with a bow before a rifle, which was pretty cool, pretty unheard of. But
yeah.
And then went on a real long archery deer hunting drought until I was, you know, an adult and got my own places to hunt and stuff. And then when I moved to Knob-Noster area, I met a bunch of guys at a 3D. Had never done a 3D before. And I was like, well, I'm going to try it. And I was shooting a recurve at the time. Needless to say, it was a learning experience. A dozen arrows later, and it didn't even make it through the course. I was like, well, maybe I'll get a compound again and try that. But I did end up buying a compound, and man, it's been a wild ride since then. Straight into the open class, and then ASA not much longer after that, and did that for like 15 years. Just recently went back to the recurve, and barebow just happened to be booming about the time I decided to go back, which is awesome for me.
So who were you? I mean, okay, you decide you're going to go back to recurve, but what was the reason why you decided to go back to recurve?
Well, I've been competing in the open class of ASA, NFAA. I've been to Vegas 3 or 4 or 5 times, bunch of national events, and truthfully, my wife, she's a great compound archer. She shoots in the known 45 class for ASA for the women, and she's won and podium a ton. She's way more accomplished 3D archer than I ever was.
Great.
But I really like indoor, and we went to ASA, and I just wasn't having fun. Like, she loves it, but I just wasn't having fun anymore. And I was like, I saw the trad guy shooting, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to try that. And so I did. I bought a recurve, but right-handed. Even though I knew I'd been shooting left-handed, I just didn't know if I was coordinated enough to shoot recurve left-handed, because I'm left eye dominant.
Right.
So I bought the recurve right-handed, tried it for a year, and I just wasn't seeing the performance that I wanted out of myself. And then had an elk hunt planned, My buddy talked me into buying a compound because I was going to go elk hunting with a recurve. He's like, "You're going to hate yourself."
Can I cut you off for 1 second? Like,
Yep.
how long ago was this? How long ago was this story?
So I've only been shooting recurve left-handed for 2 years. So 3 years.
3 years ago? Okay, keep going.
Yeah. So we went on the elk hunt, had a great time, but one of the guys killed an elk at like 15 yards. And I was like, I can do that with a recurve. So on the way home, I sold the bow in the truck I'm selling it on the internet. Had a recurve bought before I got home and started out with just a hunting recurve. And then I bought a left-handed barebow rig, and it's pretty much been, last year was limited success. And this year has been so much better. I don't know what clicked over the summer. COVID helped me out a whole bunch, evidently, because I just sat here and shot my bow.
Yeah.
And it's working really well.
So,
I've had some great people help me along the way too, though.
I want to get to that. Talk about your success though. Like what do you mean by success this year? What success have you had?
So earlier in the season, there's a shoot in Kansas called the Noble 1000. And there's a local legend around here. His name's Spanky Brooks. I'm sure you know who that is. And I've told him for years that I was going to get a recurve and I was going to come shoot Noble and I was going to give him a run for his money. Well, it finally worked out that we were both there and we both shot. And he handed it to me for 2 days on the range. But the nice thing about the Noble is it's basically 2 different tournaments in one. You shoot 2 days on the range, and that gives you the high score. And then there's a 5-target shoot off for the top 5 people. So I was in 3rd place going into the shoot off, and I ended up winning it.
Jeez. The pressure must have been intense. You
know what? It's the barebow community is so much different than compound, because the compound guys are so cutthroat. We're friends, but once you step up on that line, there's no friends no more. And the barebow is not like that. At least I haven't seen it that way.
No. I think it's been pretty good. There's so many good guys, and we all have each other's backs. I think we do, and just basic in general. Trad does.
Yeah, I mean, I've messaged, the elite shooters of barebow on Facebook just to ask them dumb newbie questions. I've never got blown off. They've always answered me to the best of their ability. Whereas if you message some of the pro compound guys, probably not going to get an answer right away if you get one at all. So, I mean, I understand they're busy and they ain't got to deal with that stuff, but.
Yeah, well, you're entering that category.
No.
Okay, keep going. What else? What other success stories?
So that was like in May that happened. Then of course COVID hit and shut everything down. No 3D shoot. I was shooting local stuff, but basically when that happened, when COVID happened, I got my hunting bow squared away and I just shot it almost all season. And I really didn't touch the barebow until, I don't know, I was hopeful that Lancaster was going to get to go, but because there for a while, all the shoots started acting like they were going to take off, like Nationals was going to happen in Lancaster. And we started shooting indoor fairly early, like September, early October. And from the day that I started shooting indoor this year, my scores were dramatically more improved. Like my groups had went down and I was like, something's clicked. And I really didn't know what it was. I was like, well, it's not going to last. It never does. And so far, so good. It's still hanging in there.
Knock on wood, brother. Knock on wood.
That's right. That's right. So, I mean, I shot the quarantine indoor nationals, and it ended up, the final results just posted today, and looks like I finished up in 6th place for that. So that's like the highest I've ever ranked in any national event. So
yeah, it'd be hard to fly under the radar. You start putting up scores like that. It's like people are.
I gotta quit posting my practice scores on the barebow group because everybody keeps talking about it.
Some fantastic NFAA scoring. I mean, what did you just shoot the other day? 298? A 298?
Well, 298, but see, evidently the Midwest were kind of weird. When we do our pro-ams, they count the X as a point.
Yeah.
So it was a 284 if you don't count the X as a point. So, which is still, for me, that's right up there. My highest practice score is a 288. So
that's still really good, bro. That's still
yeah,
really
yeah. So, and then, so now we got all these new tournaments coming, and we got we got the Rushmore Rumble shoot coming in February. And then the weekend before that, here in Missouri, there's a new shoot, the Show Me Showdown, I think is what they call it.
Yeah.
And it's basically it's a Lancaster format. And since I've never been to Lancaster, it's going to be a new beast for me. But I got to go. You got to ride the wave.
You absolutely do. And so that's sort of your background. Now you're about to say, that you've talked to some people and you're just continually getting better and better and better. You popped out of hunting season, right? So you were shooting a heavier bow during hunting season, correct?
Right. Yeah.
All right. So tell me a little bit, because I want to kind of dig down in that. Tell me a little bit about your hunting bow setup first. Like what are you shooting for hunting?
So my hunting bow is a Dryad UL-19 riser. It's the only aluminum riser that Dryad makes. They're out of Texas.
Yep.
And I actually just happened upon it by happenstance. Actually, a guy was trying to do some trading. It looked like exactly what I wanted, 19-inch riser. And so I paired that up with some Uka limbs. I'm pulling about 44 pounds. And I shoot a 500 grain full length Victory V-Force with 250 grains up front. Nice. And it's a pretty hard hitting arrow it's not the heaviest hunting bow that I've ever shot, but those Uka limbs are so much faster than any hunting limb I've ever shot before.
Which Uka limbs do you have?
I have the Evo too. It's just, it's like the beginning of their line, but man, I couldn't imagine the performance being any better out of a budget limb.
Oh my gosh. They're so good. They're so good. And now the new limbs this year, the new replacement for Evo 2s have 50% carbon as opposed to the 20% carbon. And they're on top of those, they're 2 or 3 feet per second faster.
Yeah.
So
and I couldn't even imagine. I know guys that are trying to use them for trad, like straight up trad, and their gaps are just massive. Too big.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they can't, they're like, I have to shoot like a 700 grain arrow to make my gap right. Yeah. I'm like, that's silly. You should just string walk and come to barebow.
That's right. I had on the show Peter Ugard, and he sorry if I mess up his last name, but he was talking. He has a great video out, and like, why do people keep asking how much weight I'm pulling? Because it's starting to make no difference, right? I mean, it's just what limbs you have, because those Uka limbs, and then even at the higher end range of those Uka limbs, what we used to pull on a wood bow, 50 pounds is now it's around 40. Right?
Yeah.
Same.
And I have an old bear. It's a Hunter Kodiak, and it's 50 pounds, but these Ukas are 3 times faster than that bow ever thought about being. And everyone asked me, are you going to hunt with a wooded bow? I was like, that wood bow just doesn't do what I want it to do. Like, I love a wood bow. I think they're beautiful bows, but for me to want to swap limbs around, maybe I want to go shoot a 3D, just pop a set of limbs off, pop a set of limbs on, and I can go do whatever I want. I still shoot off the shelf when I hunt. I don't use a springy, or I don't use a cushion plunger or any of that.
Okay.
But I still shoot it off the shelf. I just don't. And I may not do that next year. I may go to an AccuTune with a springy rest like Paul Helms talks about all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I just recently went to a springy rest. Those people, usually I have a mixed bag of people who listen to this show. So I just kind of like to explain things a little bit more. So a springy rest. So Darren's talking about shooting off the hump on the crown hump on top of his Dryad. I didn't know that. I actually didn't even know that dryads had a hump on them. But I guess they do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're radius shelf. They're radius.
Yeah. It kind of looks like like a CD has the hump.
Yep.
It's kind of like that, but it's not as pronounced as that.
Yeah, and that's CD Archery, and they're famous for their WF 19 25s, 21-inch risers, and the new 21-inch riser.
That's right. That's right.
everyone's kind of drooling over that one. But yeah, and then the springy rest is this kind of, I think it's like 20 years old, this thing.
Yeah, it just kind of looks like a pig's tail. It's kind of weird.
It's like a pig's tail. It's just like a little spring with a little thing. It looks like a broken spring.
That's exactly what it looks like.
And it's just making a resurgence. I mean, honestly, someone told me that Hoyt bows or some bow used to come with them all the time. And he has like a drawer full of them. And but yeah, they're making a resurgence, and guys like Paul Helms are using that, and they're getting good results. Aaron Schneider uses it. So that's kind of why it's getting really popular. But
I could definitely see how it's going to be if you've made it with the AccuTune like those guys are. I mean, you're basically making a super nice rest out of two things that were never meant to work together. But
yeah. Okay. So that's your hunting setup. And what's your target, your indoor setup that you've been shooting lately?
Indoor setup is so it's a my bow. They're out of Britain.
Yep.
Or United Kingdom, I should say. And I bought it off Lancaster because it was an open box and it was left-handed, and
perfect, dude.
Perfect. It's a 25-inch elite riser. I shoot the Uka Evo 2s in long, 34 pounds at 28 inches. I got an endless loop. It's the Bloodline material, 99 Spectra.
Okay,
It's a waxless new string material that's supposed to come out big on compounds, but since it was 99% Spectra, I guess that is really good for our strings too. So I tried it out. It's been working really good, so I'm not changing it.
No, don't change it. Who got you that? Like, did you build it?
No, there's a guy that was building me Flemish strings for my hunting bows.
Yeah,
and he started using this material in my Flemish strings, and I was like, can you make me an endless loop for my Olympic or my barebow rig? And he's like, yeah. So he's like, try it out, see what you think. And so he sent me one for free, and it's been working really good.
We need to drop his name on this, or should we?
I mean, I can. It's Crutcher Creek. I found him on Facebook. Really, I mean, he was on some of the trad pages offering up strings. So
that's awesome. Okay, great. Okay, Crutcher Creek.
Crutcher Creek. Yeah, I can send you the information.
That's cool. I'll put it in the link. Yeah. So people. Yeah, I mean, he sends you a string and it's new material. It's interesting. That's cool. Okay, sorry. Finish your story about your setup.
So using the Uka Evo 2 at 34 pounds, and I have a homemade brass weight. It's kind of styled after a Yost, but it's way bigger. It's 2 pounds of chunk. It's just a chunk of 2 pound brass I bought off eBay for like $25. So, and I had a local machinist do some work on it. So, and I use an AAE rest, the free flight rest.
Yep.
And probably the cheapest WW little plunger.
We lost you. Take a second.
I'm here.
Hey,
I'm back. Sorry. Just a cheap little plunger. It's like a $25 plunger, but it seems to be working. I want to play with that magnetic plunger that Dillinger's been, but $125 for a plunger is a little bit out of my price range right now. So
is it still 125? I know that he was trying to get that below like what a biter would cost.
Yeah, it's still, I talked to him right around Christmas and they're still right at 125. I mean, eventually I'll just bite the bullet and do it, but right now it's just out of the range with traveling for these shoots and stuff. I still work 40 hours a week, so I have a few little sponsors and I'm really happy to have them, and they help a ton.
And you,
mainly because it's an arrow sponsor, and you know how trad arrows go.
yeah, I know. Well, you shot with me, you know, I go through.
Well, I was talking about every time you put like 3 twists in your string, you gotta go get another spine arrow. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is true. Who's sponsoring you? Who are your sponsors? Right.
so I have Victory Arrows, which they've been with me since I was compound. And when I told them I was going to go to trad, they're like, "Hey, more power to you. If you can make it work, we're here to help you." So, and then me and my wife both got picked up by Vortex Optics this year. So
See that?
it's been awesome. She was on Nikon staff when we met, and of course Nikon did away with their archery staff about 2 years ago. So we've both been just kind of in limbo, just hanging out, seeing what was out there. Vortex seemed to have the best warranty, and they make a great optic. So
Yeah.
when they were looking for shooters, and we sent them an app, and they picked us up. So why not?
Absolutely. I mean, it's not cheap doing the stuff that you're doing, and I actually appreciate when people get things so that it makes it a little bit their life a little bit more comfortable. So that, like you said, I mean, you know what a lot of archers have to think about. All right, do I want to get that new riser that's going to give me 2 or 3 more points, or save that money and be able to go 2 more shoots, 2 different shoots, you know, and pay to get in those shoots and then drive there and camp and all that other stuff that you got to do, hotels. It's expensive. It gets expensive, man.
Yeah.
And so it's we want the best of the best in the barebow community,
Absolutely.
right? So
And
yeah, no,
and I think, my Victory sponsorship, they're coming right along in the barebow community. I mean, Dwayne Martin's shooting them. He's not sponsored by them, and Spanky is sponsored by them. And he was approached by them to shoot for him after he saw me shooting them, and he asked me a bunch of questions about them. But they've been great. I mean, they offer enough spines for us because we're those weird guys that need 700 and 800 spine arrows most of the time. So for my indoor setup, I'm just shooting the straight out hunting arrow, basically.
you need. I think the last time I shot with you, you were shooting like a 700 spine.
Yeah, I have. Well, they were probably 800s cut short, but yeah, I was shooting the VAPs,
You're
and
shooting
you
the
met
VAPs
me
at
over.
800. I was like, dude, I'm like, I couldn't tune for. I mean, it just. So for new people who are listening to, and they're just getting into your barebow career, or you're shooting trad, your release makes a huge difference on what spine you have to take
Oh
too.
yeah.
So, right. So if you have like a crap release like me that goes like this, then you need a heavier spined arrow. And then if you have a great smooth release like Darren obviously has, you can have I believe that's still true. You can have a lighter, but I couldn't believe that you were shooting a 700 spine or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But I mean, I just ordered, and hopefully they'll be here before we go outside. I ordered some of the VXTs, and so they're the ones that are tapered, and you can change the spine by trimming it off the back. So it'll be a whole new beast for me. I'll be calling John Dillinger and asking him how he set those up so he could win Lancaster. He probably won't let me know now, but
When you're coming in 30th place, he's okay to give you a info. But
yeah, he'll be like, "I've never heard of you, but it'll be fine. Thanks."
so funny, dude. No, I mean, John's an awesome dude. And you know what? He's such a good person, such a good ambassador for the sport, and he's very approachable and stuff. So
Yeah,
he's a great dude.
I don't know. I was playing around with my anchor point so much, and I have some of the same problems he did coming from a compound background.
Mhm.
And so I tried anchoring more like he does towards the front of your face.
Yes, he's really here.
And I think that's some of the stuff that's helped me be more consistent, is actually finding a solid anchor. And because in barebow, that's half the battle, is finding a good solid anchor.
Thank you
So,
for saying that. And for everyone who struggles with finding an anchor and then listening to 150 people tell you 150 different ways to anchor. Like I
yes.
literally, everything, there's so many things that are running through my head. And the beauty of having a show like this is that I get to bug all you guys first, and I get your. But I mean, literally, I have people coming. Like it's going through my head as I'm pulling back to anchor, and they're saying, "No, you got to come underneath your jaw here. You got to be second finger in there. You got to be up on your cheekbone. You got to be under your chin. You got to be here on your front tooth. You got to be. There's like a million things, right? So what? Tell me about this anchor. Tell me about your anchor, because this is an interesting conversation to have.
So I tried the corner of the mouth. I tried using your eye tooth,
Yep.
and evidently, I'm those don't work for me. When I was growing up as a kid, I just anchored at the corner of the mouth, and we just kind of floated out there shooting instinctive, and we were just flinging arrows basically. But this barebow, I mean, let's face it, it's as precise as you want to make it. You can either, and I call myself a fill shooter. I'm not super robotic. I don't do the same thing. If you watch me shoot, most people are like, "Do you get into your back?" I was like, "I have no idea. I could not tell you. I've never had anyone really coach me."
You're right.
I've had some people look at my form, and when it's bad, it's bad, and when it's good, it works really well. So, but my anchor, I was very inconsistent because with this much scruff on your face, here and here, I can't tell the difference with a tab in between it.
Yeah.
But when I come to the front, that's a landmark that doesn't move. So like I told a little Joag guy this weekend at that tournament, he's like, "How do you anchor like that?" I said, I'm kissing the tip of my finger, which sounds really weird, but that's exactly what I'm doing. I just bring it right into the very center of my lips with my index finger, and it's very repeatable. It probably shortens my draw by an inch, but
where's the string in relation to when you have it anchored here?
Right in the center of my nose.
Right in your nose. So I was going to get to that. So I was watching.
I actually probably put too much nose into the string. That's my downfall. If I get lazy, I'll dip my head to get over the center of the arrow, and it'll actually put me into my string more.
Okay.
And I can feel it. Kind of like when I shot compound, I'd always push into my nose. And that was one of my issues, is I get too much face contact by pushing in.
So you are probably your left and rights have got to be perfect almost. Well, you're shooting lights out.
I mean,
because Kaminsky, I was listening to Kaminsky. The reason I'm asking is because Kaminsky I just listened to him today. I picked up he was talking about his anchor, and there was some messages. I went through some of his message board and stuff. And basically the guy, a lot of them said, "Hey," he's like, "I got this really crazy deep gap. Like I got a big gap." And it's because he's shooting a fast bow, right? He's shooting he's shooting like 42 pounds, 43 pounds or something crazy. Yeah. I don't know what he's doing, 45 pounds. And yet he still anchors low, right? But he keeps it up front here. And the string's right there. So he likes that because it's kind of like Olympic recurve, right? So it's back here and underneath, and he's anchoring really low, but it's coming right here, the string, right? So that's the same thing you're doing. And the reason he says he's doing it is because his lefts and rights are always perfect because of the string blur.
I mean, I have noticed, and on my targets, I have been keeping most of them just so I can, because I don't use one of the apps on your phone where you track and plot your arrow. But I also lollipop. So you'll notice on all my targets that my miss will be like 6 o'clock on the white blue on the NFA face, or it'll be the 9-8 line. Those are my big, that's my miss. But I will have them off to the side. I'm not perfect. I'm not shot 298 on Vegas like the Sweden.
No, that dude is, that was crazy. That's like crazy.
Evidently, I need to move to Europe if I want to be that good.
How you shoot at 290? I just it's for people who are listening. That's out of 300.
Right.
And
I guess they consider that a half game.
Half game, yeah, because it's a 600 round, but the 298 on a half game, and then the problem with that is If I'm mistaken, but that was on a 40 centimeter target.
Right.
It was a 40 centimeter target, which makes it twice as hard because that 10 is so small and you got to fit 3 arrows in it.
Yeah.
Touching 3 arrows in one target. That's not easy. That's why compound guys don't shoot a single spot, right? They shoot
That's
at
right.
spots.
I mean, I had to put pin knocks in my arrows this year because that shoving 3 of them in there is hard on them.
Listen, I can't believe the flexing going on here right now.
No way. I'm just telling you that it costs a lot of money if you're blowing arrows up all the time.
You just said you got a sponsor. You're fine, dude.
No, I don't get that. I don't get unlimited. This is not a video game.
Yeah, I gotta put pin. When I get to the point I gotta put pin knocks in, I mean, I'll probably switch to another sport. No, I'm kidding.
Oh yeah,
I'm kidding.
well, I don't know. Archery is a lot like golf, so
yeah. There's ups and downs, man. Some days you're on, some days you're not. And
that's right, for sure.
And one of the big things that I noticed that you've done, and you've kind of pushed me to a little bit, is to get into tournaments and get into competition, get into leagues, because it's certainly helped you.
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about that? And
I mean, yeah, I actually have been running leagues for 4 years, 5 years. I mean, we don't have per se any leagues down around me. The closest one's probably an hour any direction from me. But we have spaces available, and I just want to shoot. And if I'm going to be there shooting, I might as well bring as many people as I can do it, because I need somebody on that line next to me, because you're never going to recreate that shooting by yourself.
No, unfortunately, you're right. And me and
And
my
it's too cold to go stand in my backyard and do it, or I would.
It's like Dwayne Martin says, is you're always a champion in your backyard.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. I mean, now I only have like I have one other guy shooting recurve with me right now, and then I have another one. He bounces back and forth between compound, but he's a really good barebow shooter in his own right. He just hasn't give up on. He really wants to be able to shoot that compound and shoot that barebow at the same time. It's a really hard thing to do. But we have roughly 8 to 10 people on a given night at our league. So, and they're mostly compound guys. I offer them every week, if they would spot me 25 points, I'll shoot head to head with them. Because I ain't had anybody take me up on it yet. So.
I wouldn't take you up on that either.
Why not? Come on.
Dude, come on. 25 points. Hey, listen, if there was one thing though, I know you said earlier that you're not sure what's going on, right? But give me one piece of advice. What's that one piece of advice? What's that secret sauce? What can I do right now to change something and become a better, maybe it's just 2, 3, 4 points. I don't know. Maybe it's 10 or 20.
Oh man, I don't know. It's so much trial and error. It's so, because I don't mind tinkering, but I'm not gonna do like wholehearted changes to my form. That's hard for me to do. Like, I listened to Matt Zernzak talking to some guys today on a podcast, and I was like, he's talking about doing a whole form renovation during COVID. I'm like, that's dedication. Like, I definitely think the thing that you could do is it doesn't have to be a coach, but it definitely needs to be a peer, someone that you could get knowledge out of. Luckily for me, I have the internet, and John and Matt Zernzak's made a ton of videos. And if you're a visual learner like me, that's good. But if you're hands-on, well, that's a little tougher. But now they have, like, the boot camp that you went to.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That have to be, I mean, that's not for teaching you how to shoot barebow, though. That's just to hone what you already know. But they have those online courses.
Yep.
And I think Joel Turner and
Tom Klum.
Yeah, they have that immersion clinic that they put on. I mean, the ability to get good coaching is available now. It didn't always used to be. If you have the time and sometimes the money, you can go. you can get it. But I mean, if you're a visual learner, get a coach, get with somebody. The barebow guys, I've never messaged one of them and they didn't answer me. So there's enough of the shoots you can go to and talk to these guys. They're just like talking to anybody, to your friends. They're the nicest people I've ever met, honestly.
And you know what's shocking to me too, and we should mention this, is that when I started, and for anyone else that's listening, when I started, and I'm in a small little town in Kansas, I didn't think that there was anyone shooting, because you're inundated with people who shoot compound bows. You go to Bass Pro, you go everywhere. You can only buy a compound bow. You know, a recurve bow is somewhere in the back shelf and it's getting dusty, and no one gives a shit about that stuff. And if you ask about it, they're like, here's a compound bow. And then, so I literally thought there was no one in my area who shot traditional archery, like no one. I was so wrong. I was so wrong. It's not that, it's that I feel like our community is not good at communicating, out enough. And what happened was, I actually, in my backyard, I have a traditional only 3D range. There's a club in my backyard, basically, probably like 5 to 10 miles away. And there's a ton of people there, and there's like Darron is, I think you're like 2 hours away from me. Spanky's like 2 hours away. Ken Davis is like 2 hours away. He's he's one of our friends who's a fantastic archer. There's just so many people locally. So check locally. You might think that there's not barebow people there, but there will be.
And it is hard to find them, but once you find them, you'll be amazed how many there are. I mean, they're kind of, I don't know, it's almost like they're recluses, but they don't ever come out of the woods, or I don't know. But
we've got Mark Hodge is in Lawrence, Kansas. He's literally 30 minutes away from me. It's a resource I need to utilize a little bit better. Jeff Hale lives in the same town as me almost. He lives one town over from me, like 10 minutes. Anyway, so there's just a lot of people, right, in Kansas. I didn't realize.
Yeah, Kansas, right there where you are, is like a little hub, and then 30 minutes from where I am here, they have the traditional Mow Jam every year, which is all the freaking self bows and all that stuff. And I mean, I knew about it my whole life, but I've never ever even dreamt about going to something like that. But now I would in a minute. I'm still not going to shoot one of them bows that's all snaky, and when we put a plunger on that thing, I mean,
I noticed self bow guys don't have cavities. The reason why is that they get shaken out every time they shoot a shot.
I don't know, man.
Those things
Some
are
of those guys.
It's like,
I've watched the self bow class at IBO, and them things shoot pretty good.
Dude, I was there for that. I filmed the world championship, and they had that self bow competition, and I thought to myself, oh, well, good. I'm going to feel better about myself because, at least I'm a little bit better than the self bow guy. No.
No.
They're like so good, good. I couldn't believe how good they were. It was amazing. It was fun. It was fun to watch. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Everybody keeps telling me I need to go. I was like, well, I can go, but I'm going to have to shoot that RU class because I can't shoot a wood bow.
No, I was talking about the IBO World Championship, which is
right.
They have barebow class.
RU class? What is
they have RU?
Yeah.
But they have barebow class.
Right. The same thing. Isn't it?
Is it? I don't know. Sorry. I'm going to
I think it's the same class.
Maybe. Okay. Because they have barebow, and then they have hunter class, and they have Anyway, it was a fun experience. It was a humbling experience for me, but I feel like I'm a lot more prepared this year, and I can't wait to go. And I'm starting to get a little bit.
I'm going to have to come to your house and just drag you out, I guess.
You just got to come to my house and show me what I'm doing right.
There's no secrets, man.
There's no secret.
No secrets. If you shoot with me, you'll see it.
I know I do. I got to come out, but I don't want to shoot at a tournament. You keep inviting me to tournaments. I can't shoot with you at a tournament. I gotta get you one-on-one. I'm angling for a one-on-one lesson with you.
I see that. All right. Well, maybe at the end of February, it'll slow down enough to where I can go do something.
Okay. Well, that'd be cool. Hey, is there anything about you that people may not know that you want to know?
Well, there's a lot of things they don't know about me.
Well, something that you can share. Like you secretly love ballroom dancing or something like that.
Oh, I really like watching the British baking show, man. That's something.
Yeah, I love that too.
I love the British, the way they talk, man. I wish I could if I could have an accent, that'd be the one I got.
Yeah, you have an accent, all right. It's just
yeah. Well, everybody's got an accent. You're from Canada.
Yeah, I don't. You have a southern like accent almost.
No way. I'm from northern Missouri. I sure do have a southern accent.
It sounds a little bit. Hey, all right, dude. Thanks for chatting with us. I really appreciate it. You are climbing the rung. Just keep up the good work. Just whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. I'm so excited to watch you get more and more successful as you go. It's real fun. It's a fun watch for me, and all your friends are saying the same thing, obviously. So we're all pushing for you to do well. And congratulations on your recent success, and just keep hammering away.
All right. I appreciate it.
Thanks everyone for watching and listening. And if you want to hit up Darron, you can hit him at Darron Rod on Instagram. Darron Rod on Instagram.
Or just Darron Rodgers on Facebook.
Or Darron Rodgers on Facebook. That's right too. And he said that everyone on Barebow is friendly. Will always reply back to you. So hit him up if you can. And again, it's going to be interesting watching the rest of your career. So thanks everyone. Appreciate everything you do. Please, 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 everyone be safe and healthy and happy. And we'll talk to you next time. Take it easy.